So in Dresden, how would you describe the approach towards behavior management in the school?
Um, that part I think could be better. The person that's in charge of discipline, we have a detention, after school detention thing,
Mm-hmm.
which I think needs to be better. I don't know, there could be something better there, because a lot of times they don't show up. Like, we have a morning detention once a week and then an afternoon detention once a week. And it's hard to get the kids to show up, so we put them in in-school suspension, but it really doesn't bother them a lot of times to be put in in-school suspension. But really, overall, we don't have a lot of behavior problems, so it never ends up being that huge of a deal. Like, we've never had anything like that we can't handle. So, but I'm sure in a different school it wouldn't work at all. So it just kind of works there.
What do most people around Dresden think of how the school is doing?
I think overall, people would say that it's a good school. We're in a school system with the county, so there's schools in other towns within the county. Our K-8 school is like one of the best in the state. And the thing that is a negative for Dresden is just that it's not the smallest school in the school system, but there is a larger school that's probably like Milan 650, and a lot of times you might see kids that went to K-8 in Dresden transfer there for high school, which I think is kind of why our numbers go down sometimes. And there are a couple of K-12 schools that are very, very small. I'd say maybe 40 or 50 per class, if that many. But the quality of education, I don't think is any worse than anywhere else. I mean, I think it's very good, especially being at several different schools. Being in several different schools, it's one of the better ones that I've seen.
Why do you think that people go to that bigger school instead of just sticking with Dresden?
I think because it's bigger and it's more publicized, and I don't know, I just kind of think sometimes people think bigger is better. Like, if you go to a bigger school, they've got the better teachers, and they've got the more diverse different activities, which they don't really have anything more than Dresden does. I don't, unless they have an extra sport. I don't even know about it if they do. I mean, I wouldn't say. I just kind of think people are attracted to bigger schools sometimes.
Describe the relationship between parents and teachers at Dresden.
I think the teachers are very good about communicating with parents, and then I work in the office now, and parents call all the time to talk to a specific teacher. They'll call any time of day, and then we'll just have to tell them like when their plan is, or they'll call back. But the teachers call, email. We have 2 parent-teacher conferences a year, and they seem to be really well attended compared to when I was a teacher at Milan. The last one that I had when I was there, I had no parents, and we were there for 3 hours, and it was at night, so there was plenty of time for everybody to be off work and come, and people still wouldn't come. But I think when they turn their lists in after, they have 20 parents on their list, and oftentimes it's not just the parents that their kids are already doing fine. So when there's a struggling student, but of course there's also the times where the parents just don't care to be involved. We have some of that too, where the kids just kind of on their own. And I think that we all know, you can just tell when you get to know a student, they'll tell you things, and so you kind of know what they need more, and kind of alter to go with that.
So this is kind of shifting gears. Describe the ways student data is used at your school.
When we get test scores back, that they meet by departments, I think. So they'll go, they'll meet and talk about scores and look at where they need improvement. They use it that way. They take what they need to improve, and they concentrate more on that. and then just try to do, better next time.
How does teacher collaboration look at your school?
Everybody gets along really well. We have like math department, English department, and I see them all the time, like in the teachers' lounge. They go to each other's classrooms, and then of course I've even seen them cross departments. Like, what are you doing in history right now that I can tie that in with English? Like, how can I tie that in with my English class? Because a lot of times it does meet up, because you hear kids saying, well, we're talking about this in history right now, or you're in history, and we just learned about that in science. So I've even seen like they'll do a project across departments. So I mean, everybody kind of collaborates really well that way.
Describe how teachers that grew up outside of Dresden get along with students and other faculty.
There are actually several teachers that are from the area there. We also have a lot of younger teachers, and they're just so, this one person in particular, she came in and she's really friendly, is outgoing, gets involved with everything, and makes it a point to get along with other teachers. And then I've seen other teachers that just kind of stay off on their own. But overall, like, everybody gets along really well. I just think in our area, even if they're not from that town, they're from the area, and the whole area is really similar, just all of West Tennessee in general. So, I mean, it's not really hard to relate to any students or anything. I mean, some can better than others, but I don't really see any sort of like, it'd be more like of an age thing than anything.
Oh, okay.
Like they're really old. Like we had the teacher I'm referring to that kind of kept off on her own, she was really a lot older. If you can't relate to a student because of an age difference, maybe, but because of like demographics or just where you're coming from a different place, I haven't seen really anything like that.
So do you have any teachers from, say, outside of West Tennessee, like say up north or out west, or like something that may indicate a difference?
The only one that's coming to my mind, she was from Middle Tennessee, and then we had one from East Tennessee. That's the furthest.
Okay. And was that, did they get along any differently, or?
The one I'm talking about, the younger girl, she's from Middle Tennessee. Like, that's why I thought of her, because she was the one that, and then the one from East Tennessee, he was a coach, and he went somewhere else to coach, so he's no longer there.
Okay. Can you describe the relationship between the school and the community? We actually, I would say the thing that connects our school the most to the community would be sports. We have huge turnouts for football games and basketball games, and it's not just school-related people, community people come. Anytime that we do like a project, like the Family and Consumer Sciences, they do a project with their students where throughout the semester they'll go to a local daycare. So the community is, they work with the school. Okay.
And anytime like we need sponsors for something, everybody's really, it's just so small, everybody knows each other, and it's really easy to get help.